Anandalilamaya vigrahaya himavadibhyo shabhisundaya tasmai mahaprema rasa pradaya chaitanya chandraya namo namaste chaitanya chandraya namo namaste chaitanya chandraya namo namaste. So thank you all devotees. We want to continue about the beautiful internal reason of appearance of Radha and Krishna in the form of Gaura. What is there in the heart of Krishna that makes him appear, and who is actually this personality? Why all this is happening? This is very central secret of our philosophy and our path. We are Gaudiya Vaishnav, that means we worshipper of Gauranga. That means we worship Radha and Krishna as being Gauranga, and Gauranga as being Radha and Krishna. That's how we worship. We don't worship only Radha Krishna. We worship them as being Gauranga and Gauranga as being Radha and Krishna. That's the whole message of Srila Prabhupada and our Acharyas. So we were on verse 29, where Krishna said, the influence of Yoga Maya will inspire the gopis with the sentiment that I am their paramour. And we were speaking about the principle of Parakya Rasa, how this is so different than in the material world, because the sexual love is completely inexistent. So this is a love without any sexual psychology, Prabhupada would say. Without any sexual, how to say, like the sexual enjoyment doesn't exist in Krishna. Krishna doesn't enjoy these things. They don't have, like conditioned soul, they have sexual desire. But in the spiritual world, they don't have this. And they don't enjoy the kind of sensation that conditioned soul they enjoy. For them, this has absolutely, first, no existence. Second, no interest. They don't even know what it is, because they live in another world where kama means prema, pure love. And there the love is only about giving yourself completely. It's very, very important to understand these things. Otherwise, we will think this paramour relationship between Krishna and the gopis. We will assimilate it to what we see in this material world. Oh no, actually, we were already on the next verse. Neither the gopi nor I shall notice this, for our minds will always be entranced by one another's beauty and qualities. And Prabhupada explained in the purport that, okay, there is the spiritual world, and Krishna manifests there his pleasure potency in free loving affairs. But then he explained, but these are pure. They have nothing to do about the things of this world. That's why Krishna comes here, to show to the world what is the real loving affairs, what is real love. Here we don't know what is love. The definition of love is that which doesn't exist in the material world. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says this. He says, pure love is like the golden water of the Jambu River. It doesn't exist in this world. It means pure love is absent in this world. So we can't know what it is. That's why Krishna appears, to show, now I will show you what is this pure love. And it may look like attraction between male and female, boys and girls, but it's nothing to do with that. And we have to try to understand. We have to meditate upon this, actually. Try to understand, to pray Radha and Krishna that they allow us to understand what is it then, if it's not what we see all around us. Prabhupada saying, in Goloka Vrindavan there is an exchange of love known as Parakya Rasa. It is something like the attraction of a married woman for a man other than her husband. In the material world, this sort of relationship is most abominable because it's the perverted reflection of the Parakya Rasa in the spiritual world, where it is the highest kind of loving affair. So, what we see here as paramour love is the lowest thing. Or any kind of sexuality in the material world is something very low, because it's opposed to pure love. But Prabhupada mentioned that in the spiritual world, such feeling between the devotee and the Lord are presented by the influence of Yoga Maya, which is the energy of pure love. Yoga Maya is an expansion of Radha. That means this is an aspect of the love of Radha, of the heart of Radha, manifesting everything. And he mentioned that in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that the devotees of the highest grade are under the care of Devi Maya or Yoga Maya, Matmanas to man partha. Devi Prakritim Ashrita. So the Ashrita of Radhan is love. So all these parakyaras is this experience of the purest love, which has absolutely nothing to do with the love or sexuality of the material world. Because the people in this material world, Prabhupada says, they can't understand what is the nature of this pure love. Also, Krishna manifests a process by which we can become purified and start to understand, which is called Vaidhi Bhakti. When we follow the principles of Vaidhi Bhakti, then our heart becomes purified. And then we can have some glimpses of what is real love. And then we can see, then it means this. When Krishna dances with the gopis, when he plays with them like a young man who is loving young girls. He is a young man, he is loving young girls, but it's not what we see, because what we see is not love. So we have to very meticulously detach ourselves from this conception and understand this has nothing to do with this. Now, what is the nature of this love? We have to understand. Loving sentiment in the spiritual world is induced by the Yoga Maya potency. And then both Sri Krishna and the damsel of Raj, they forget themselves in spiritual rapture. Means the experience of that love, which is actually the heart of Radha spreading and engulfing everything. The gopis, they are kaya vyuha, bodily expansions of Radhani. So they are actually expansions of Radhani's love. Because the love of Radha for Krishna is so unlimited that she has to take multiple forms in order to manifest that love more and more and more. So they forget themselves. By the influence of such forgetfulness, the attractive beauty of the gopi plays a prominent part in the transcendental satisfaction of Krishna. who has nothing to do with mundane sex. So here in this purport, really Prabhupada wants us to understand the difference and make the distinction. And then in the pure love, Krishna can forget himself. And they also forget everything. They forget themselves in the purity of that love. Their only desire is to give their heart to Krishna. It's actually there, they don't enjoy the senses. In the material world, there is sense enjoyment. But in Goloka, they don't enjoy the senses. They enjoy their love only. The exchange of love, that's what is enjoyable. This is the real pleasure. And love, the pleasure of love is the pleasure of giving. It's not the love of this world, which is so-called love. It's a sentimental pleasure of exploiting, how we could say, emotions from another person, exploiting their feeling in order to gratify our emotions. But it's not like this. It's all about being ready to die just for the happiness of the other. The gopis, they are ready to die. At any moment, they are ready to die for the happiness of Krishna. If you ask them, can you die now for the happiness of Krishna? They'll die. This doesn't happen, but in their heart, they're ready to die. Because for them, what is important is Krishna will be happy. And if they need to die for that, no problem. They die for that. So actually their life is a constant death for Krishna's pleasure, because they're living on that level of intensity. And that's what we call love. When you sacrifice your life for someone else, this is what, now it starts to become real love. You just think about Krishna's happiness. What they want is the experience of love inside Krishna's heart to grow. And they're ready to die for that. They're ready to die for enabling Krishna's love to increase, because they know that then Krishna's love will increase, Krishna will be, Krishna will be carried, how to say, you know, like balloon, they go with hot air, they go in the sky. How do you call this?
Lift off.
Lift off. Krishna will be lift off more and more and more by the experience of prem. Krishna will experience higher and higher level of prem, and he will be completely fascinated by the beauty of this love. This is what they want. They want Krishna to experience more and more, or higher and higher level of love, always at every moment. They're ready to die at every moment for Krishna to experience this. This is love. And Krishna also wants them to experience the same, because love is two-sided, it's not one-sided. So Krishna desires the same thing for them. Krishna never, ever, ever, ever wants to take something for him. Otherwise he would cease at that very moment to be Krishna. Krishna cannot. This is opposed to his nature of Krishna. Krishna only takes pleasure in giving himself. That's the highest pleasure. So, and the gopi, they are the same. That's why how they are complementary. And Radha, who is the embodiment of all the gopis, who is actually, we could say, she's the only gopi. And all of them, they are just different form of Radharani. Just one point of view. We don't have to think like this always, because the multitude also of aspects as different individuals is also very important. But that's Om Purnam Purnamadam Purnamida. You know, when Radharani, she manifests herself as so many forms, all these forms, they are also complete in themselves. So there are also other persons. And most sublime personalities like Lailita, Vishaka, Chitra Devi, Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, Lavanga Manjari, they are more, each of them is more beautiful than the others. It's like this. And every moment they become more beautiful because love only increases by nature. Still, they're not satisfied by the fact that love increases. They want to make love increases more and faster. They want to, this is their life, this is their only consideration. They want Krishna's love to increase because they know then he will be happy. Krishna is not happy by anything else. Krishna is happy then when he sees his ecstasy and his love growing. Then Krishna is, that's what Krishna says in the verse. Oops. Krishna is himself amazed by this. Yete mora chamatkar. The only thing that can make Krishna chamatkar completely fascinated is transcendental love. And not, I would say, not even prema can do this. Only the highest level of prema, they can amaze Krishna in this way. That's why the gopis have to manifest this adhirudha bhav, that even the queens of Dwaraka, and they can't manifest this level of love. They're living in such an intensity of love, adhirudha bhav, which is divided in three. This we have to understand. If we want to understand what is the love of Krishna and the gopi, we have to study, and we will do it. What are the different sections of adhirudha bhav? It's also interesting to study what has the other section also of Ruda Bhav, like the Queen of Dwaraka they have. But at least in Vrindavan, the gopis, there are these Modanakya, Mohanakya, and Madanakya. And Rupa Goswami Nujvala Nilamani explains the beauty of this love. And when you hear about that, you realize this is really something that doesn't exist in this world. Because one aspect of, for example, the second Mohanaksha Mahabhav is that, or Adhirudha Mahabhav, Mohanaksha Adhirudha Mahabhav, is that when they feel this love, the entire universe drawn in despair and lamentation. So I mean, by the love, by the depths of the love they experience, it draws the entire universe in a desperate condition. You know, like when Dhruva Maharaj stopped breathing, nobody could breathe anymore in the universe because he was so connected to Krishna. But that's the aspect of Paramatma. So the effect is that they couldn't breathe anymore. But the gopis, their love is so connected to Krishna's heart. Then when they enter into this mood of Mohanaksha Mahabhav, the entire universe drones into despair. That's one aspect only of Mohanaksha Mahabhav. And then another aspect is that when they enter into that mood, even if Krishna is thousands of miles away in Dwarka, Krishna will also faint. Even though he may be in the arms of his queens there. Even though he may be surrounded by very pure love, Ruda Mahabhav. It's already incredible, but still when the gopi they enter into the mood of Modanaksha Adirudha Mahabhav, then Krishna in Dwaraka, he will feel that. So this love which reaches his target, 1,000 miles away, and Krishna will collapse and faint. So that's just some few glimpses that Rupa Goswami is telling us what is the love of the gopis. Nothing to do with material love. And then on the basis of such love, they do meet each other. And then they do play like we would say ordinary boys and girls, but actually they don't play like ordinary boys and girls. They play like the expression of this pure love. Just that ordinary boys and girls, they try to imitate that without the pure love. And then it becomes something completely different, which is, there is nothing as far as the top of the tree than the top of the tree in the reflection in the water. So that's very, very different. So that's the principle of Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. A devotee naturally does not like to transgress the law of reverence for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but by the influence of Yoga Maya is prepared to do anything to love the Supreme Lord better. That's what I was explaining. They're ready to love Him better and to make His own love increase. Because they are not searching to increase their own experience. They're searching to increase Krishna's experience. And they know what please Krishna, only one thing, pure love. So they want Krishna's experience of pure love to grow. And only them know how to do this. Not by making Vaidhi Bhakti cannot increase Krishna's experience of pure love. Only pure Vraj Bhakti, and only the Vraj Bhakti, pure Vraj Bhakti we can say. Because even though we always glorify the gopi, we should never, ever minimize the love of Yashoda, or Subal, or Madhumangal. They are also pleasing Krishna on a very, very high level. But Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is a young girl of Raj, so it's natural that he explains what is his own heart. And that's also considered the highest. Even though when we say the feelings of the gopis is the highest, this is the highest love, higher than the love of Mother Yashoda, higher than the love of Subal, higher than the love of Raktaka, Patraka. That doesn't mean that these higher love, they are not topmost also in themselves. And that doesn't minimize them. Actually, that makes them more beautiful even. When you say that the love of the gopis is the topmost love, that makes the love of Mother Yashoda, although this is another category of love, that makes it more beautiful also. Because spiritual world is not like material world. In the material world, if you say someone is better than the other, that makes the other less. The spiritual world, no. If you said the gopis, they are better than those who are in Vatsalya Ras, that makes those who are in Vatsalya Ras more beautiful. Because nothing can belittle, Higher love, who is in really a higher level of love, can never belittle anyone else. He can only uplift everyone and everything else. It's very interesting detail. That's why we should never misconceive the position of Mother Yashoda. to whom Radha herself offers obeisances every time she sees her. Radharani bows down and puts her own head on the feet of Mother Yashoda. She doesn't do this for Krishna. I never heard that Radharani placed Krishna's feet on her head, no? Maybe she does. But for Yashoda, she does every time she sees her. But here we're speaking about the beauty of the gopis' love, which is topmost and which makes everything else more beautiful. But by following the Vaidhi Bhakti, then the heart becomes purified. To understand this requires pure heart. But the fact is also that the fastest way to get a pure heart is to hear about this. Prabhupada would say that purity purifies like fire. If you want to come in contact with fire, you have to approach fire. Then you become burned. And that's how you become fire. Then you can enter the fire. Same thing. If you want to become pure, you have to approach what is pure. That's how you will be purified. In a proper way, under the guidance of someone who understands the nature of this love and protects you from making wrong confusion between the material love and the spiritual love. Or may think that this kind of sexual tendencies that exist in this material world may exist also in the spiritual world. But they don't, because in spiritual world only the prema, pure love exists, and this love doesn't exist in the material world. In the spiritual loving sentiment induced by the Yogamaya potency, both Lord Sri Krishna and the damsel of Raj forget themselves in spiritual rapture. By the influence of such forgetfulness, the attractive beauty of the gopis plays a prominent part in the transcendental satisfaction of the Lord, who has nothing to do with mundane sex. They are the topmost beautiful, but the beauty of the gopi is because of their love. They are not beautiful because of their shape. They're beautiful because of their love. And then naturally the shape follows also. But it's not, the shape in itself without the love is not beautiful. And that cannot bring Krishna's, that cannot increase the love of Krishna. That cannot increase his experience of love. But still, the attractive beauty of the gopi, it plays a prominent part. That's why the beauty, feminine beauty, is so important in the gopis. You will never find anyone approaching from 10 billion years the beauty of the gopis.
It's important because the shape is a manifestation of the love.
Yeah.
Of the heart.
Yeah. That's why Radharani's shape, even for Krishna, his shape is manifestation of his love. Satchidananda Maharaj would say the beauty of Krishna's body is just the surface of his inner beauty. He says it in this way, which is very important. So we have to understand also the same thing with the gopi. Then Prabhupada goes to another topic, which is meeting and separation. He says the act of yoga maya make it possible for the Lord and the gopis in loving ecstasy to sometimes meet and sometimes separate. And that's also where we see real love. Real love will show in separation also. Because in this material world, people, they love each other, but the more material the love is, the more they don't feel anything when they are separated. That's why nowadays people, they just want to meet other people, enjoy, and don't have any feelings at all. Like this, when they separate, they don't think anymore about the other one. So this is fake, completely fake love, because real love means the separation will actually be the real, how to say, moment when that pure love will also take another dimension. So meeting or separation will be very, very similar. So sometimes for the pastime of prema and for the constant evolution of prema and for Krishna to experience higher and higher level of love, then Sambhoga and Vipralambha, they have to take place, meeting and separation, because this dynamic nourishes the beauty of love, and that's how love grows always. But Prabhupada then explained that the people in this material world, they cannot understand all these things, because they are too much absorbed in the perfection, the sexual love. So Krishna comes and he manifests this pure love. The reason the Lord displays the Rasa Lila is essentially to induce all the fallen souls to give up their diseased morality and religiosity. Means religiosity is also diseased, and to attract them to the kingdom of God, to experience, to enjoy the reality. But Prabhupada means to experience the reality of pure love. And the proof is that a person who actually understands what is the Rasa Lila will certainly hate to indulge in mundane sex life, because he experienced what is real love. And when you understand what is this, then Prabhupada said, for the realized soul, hearing the Lord Rasa Lila through the proper channel will result in complete abstinence from material sexual pleasure. That means this is the natural consequence of pure love. So we have to hear about that love. Otherwise, we will never be freed from this mundane love, which is deeply rooted in the cells of this gross body and the salt of this subtle body and the samskars of the subtle body that are covering our soul. The soul doesn't have this samskar. So we need to associate with the samskars of pure love. And the more we hear about the beauty of prema and how it is actually different from that, and the more we hear about the beauty of Krishna, the beauty of Radha and the gopis, the beauty of this love, the more we will realize how this is something else. And the more our heart will start to become fascinated by that love. That's what Shukadeva Goswami explains when he announced to Maharaj Parikshit the Vikiriditam verse. Those who have faith in the narration of the pastime of Krishna and the gopi and the rasa dance, they will become completely cured from the disease of the heart, which is material lust. That's how you become cured. And interestingly, in Jaiva Dharma, Bhaktivedanta Thakur explained even that's the only way how you became free from material lust is by becoming fascinated by true love. As long as you don't get something better, not possible to give up something lower. It's not possible. It's a principle. But once you get something better, everybody gives up something lower. When we were kids, we were playing with Playmobiles. You have this Playmobil?
Yeah.
Toy. It's like figurine.
Yeah. It's like Lego.
Or Lego. Let's say Lego. We would have Lego. But now we never play Lego anymore. Why? We had this Lego and we were so attached to it. But then one day, we don't remember exactly what happened because we didn't analyze when it happened. But one day we got something better than Lego and we forgot the Lego. And then one day we got something better and then we give up. All the things we were doing in our childhood, we don't do them anymore. Because we got something more, I would say, better is difficult to say in the material world, but we became interested in something else. So that's how it happened. By hearing about this beautiful pastime, you forget about the material world. And that's why Krishna came to manifest this pastime. That's what Prabhupada has been telling here. Krishna knows the attractive power of these particular pastimes. So he comes and manifests them in the material world. Otherwise, Krishna could have done them and nobody would have seen. Krishna can go in the forest with the gopi and nobody would know and nobody would write about it. But Krishna wants it to be known because he wants the people to hear about it. And he wants the people to realize how beautiful is the full moon in the forest of Raj. He wants the people to realize how sweet is that experience of pure love when they're searching for Krishna in the dead of night and they can't see his footprint on the floor anymore. You know, they're searching for the footprints and then all of a sudden they come into such a dark area they can't see nothing anymore and they're heartbroken. They're really confused because they are living on the level where they want to die to increase the experience of Krishna's love. But they can't because Krishna is like not accepting their sacrifice. So it's very saddening for them. So they're searching for him. They're not searching for him for their own pleasure. They're searching for him because they want to help him. That's the only thing they know. They want to help Krishna. And I read something beautiful today about this, but I can't remember it. Anyway, so they want to help Krishna, so they're searching for him anyway. They don't see him, so then they heartbroken. Can we say heartbrokenly?
Why not?
Why not? We have to invent poetry when beautiful words don't exist. We have to create them. It's beautiful, no? Heartbrokenly. So, with a broken heart, they step back and then they say, okay, let's go. Let's go under the clear moonlight on the bank of the Yamuna, which is like silver. The sand on the bank of the Yamuna is like shiny like silver. And then they go back there. And it's a very beautiful scene because they're heartbroken, but they are in the most beautiful place. It's so beautiful, but they are heartbroken. And not only them are heartbroken, the entire forest is heartbroken. The moon is heartbroken, the stars are heartbroken. So the atmosphere is very, you know, like when you read this kind of thing in movies, then the music comes also. You have to know this also in Vraj. When you come to heartbroken moment, there must be some music also accompanying this. Because I can tell you at least for a musician, someone who is really a musician, there is always music going on in his heart. When he is sad, there is sad music going on in his heart. So even though sometimes in Vraj it manifests also externally by the sound of the leaves, by the song of the birds, the sound of the waves of the Yamuna, the sound of the wind. It's not the sound like they make harmony and melody, then it will create some tune, heartbreaking tune. And they are already heartbroken. Krishna also is heartbroken. He doesn't like to do this. But Krishna and the gopi, they are dealing with something impossible for them. They are dealing with a level of love that is not manageable for them. None of them really control what's happening. Krishna is completely lost in this love, because that's what he says, no? Duhara upagune duhara nitya harimana amiha na jani taha na jani gopigahan. Neither the gopis nor I shall notice this, for our mind will be entranced by another's beauty and qualities. That means Krishna doesn't know. Amina jani. Krishna doesn't understand what is this love. He is caught in. The gopi, they don't understand what is this love we are caught in, because they gave, how to say, they made Yogamaya the MC. You understand? The master of the ceremony. She's ruling. Prema and Yogamaya, they're ruling. And they choose the Mugdata, yeah. The role as a puppet in the hands of love. That's Krishna's highest play. And that's real Krishna. Krishna is real only when he's like that. When he comes out of his Mugdata mood, he's becoming another aspect of him, which is not his real heart. When Krishna is lost in love and he cannot understand what is happening. Okay, one sense the Acharya explained Krishna is doing this in order to increase their love. That's true. But he is also himself completely lost in that experience. That's also true. But even though he is completely lost, the only thing that Krishna knows to do is to act for increasing their love, the love of the gopi. That's Krishna. Krishna doesn't know anything else. Krishna never can exploit the gopis. He's not doing all these things to increase his own enjoyment. Krishna is Ananda. He's trying to increase their love. So this is mutual, I cannot say fight, but this is a mutual we could say sacrifice. It's not exactly also like that.
Competition.
Because in all these things, competition, in the material world, we have a notion that you want to be better than the other, whereas this is not the case. But all material worlds, I think they can't really express what is this. Yeah, they fail. You have to understand from the heart. So Krishna is lost and he tries to act the best way in order to increase their love. They're trying always to act the best way. And love is there in the middle. I would even say that love himself becomes lost also. And he doesn't know what to do with this person, They're reaching such a level of love. Love himself is defeated. So everybody loses tracks. Krishna loses tracks, the gopi, they lose tracks, and Prema also loses tracks. I could venture to say that Yogamaya also loses tracks. Then when there is nothing anymore on tracks, then Krishna Lila is there. That's real Krishna. Real Krishna is actually off tracks. Everybody is off tracks. Nobody understands what's happening. Not even love himself. That's the beauty of Rajalila. And then they're carried away. Even love is carried away. Nobody knows what's happening. But what they're experiencing is extremely wonderful, and it's increasing every moment. Ramananda Roy said, it's like painting the walls of the universe with that topmost expression of love. Their love merged into each other. And then by doing this, they feed each other and they increase always each other. This is the dynamic of prema. Prema is Radharani says in Prema Samput, prema is like an all-devouring fire that burns everything that comes in contact with it or against it. All obstacles that come in contact with prema are burned to fuel prema and to increase prema. So they all become lost, and that's maybe why this night lasts an entire night of Brahma. Because what do you do when everybody loses tracks? You just, in Narottam Das Thakur writes, there was a big storm last night in Goloka. A big cloud of pure love showered rain all over the land of Raj, and there were lightnings also of pure love, and the entire land became slippery and drawn into a flood of love, and nobody knew what was happening. That's what he is describing in this. This is the Pratana, some poem, I think, toward the end of Pratana. So we have to understand this is the beauty of Parakya Ras. Nothing to do. You have never heard such a story in all the books of this world. It doesn't exist. Prabhupada came to give us Gaura Valley. This is Gaura Valley. Such a beautiful valley. Such beautiful katha about Krishna. And when you hear this, how can your heart not become lost yourself also? We have to become lost. If we don't become lost, that means we're not understanding. We have to become lost and completely fascinated. That's then what we call raga starts. Raga anuga. You're following the fascination. Your heart only is now fascinated. And when you're fascinated by someone or by something, you can just follow that. Even if it doesn't make sense. It's a fascination, Like the gopis, they often compare to the spell of a mantra. It's like the spell of a mantra. They feel that they are under the spell, so they accuse sometimes the flute, sometimes the beauty of Krishna, sometimes different things, but they are lost in the experience of their love, because their love is growing. How can you manage? You want to be do you really want to be a pure devotee? Sometimes I ask the devotees, do you want to be a pure devotee? Yes, I want to be a pure devotee. Do you know what it is to experience prema? When you experience prema, so much thing will happen. Like what I was saying? Yeah, what do you do if your love will increase at every second? How you manage that? You can't know. Just imagine now your love will start to increase at every second. How do you manage that in your life?
You don't.
You don't. You can't. Because we don't even know what is a drop of love. And a drop of love can ruin the entire universe. What about if our love now starts increasing at every moment? What do? You can't manage. Are you really willing to go for that? Is this what you're searching for? Because that's what is Krishna's world. If you want to be in Krishna's world, you have to be ready for that. But that's beautiful. You can't find anything more beautiful than this. If it gets into your mind only once, then everything else will have to come out of that mind. Shukadeva Goswami explains, like in autumn, when the clouds, the shower rains upon the lakes, that rain falls in the water and brings down all the dust that was floating in the water and making the water blur. And then the lake becomes crystal clear because all the dirt has been settled in the bottom of the lake. And then Shukadeva Goswami says, in the same way, when the Krishna consciousness, the Krishna conception, the understanding of the beauty of what is really Krishna's love enters into the heart of someone, then every other conception will have to leave. They won't be able to stand because nothing can stand in front of Krishna. If only that one drop of this consideration, and that's why we're speaking, because if only one drop of this will enter our heart, then it will chase everything out. Maybe not in the snap of fingers, that's how we say, in a finger snap. It will take some time, like the water comes. It has to rain for some time and then slowly that. But nothing can go against it. So we should hear these beautiful pastimes of Krishna. And then this beautiful reality will wipe out everything else that can be in our consciousness and in our heart. And then, because it's so much more beautiful, it's incomparable. Just imagine Maharaj Parikshit compares himself to the gopis, saying that compared to the love of the gopi, I am just a mosquito compared to Mount Meru. That's Maharaj Parikshit, who is a pure devotee. We are hearing about Maharaj Parikshit to purify ourselves. He's considering himself to be a mere mosquito compared to the love of the gopi. So, and he's hearing about the love of the gopis to purify himself. So what if we hear about the love of the gopis? Won't we be purified also? Inevitably. Even Krishna himself is purified by hearing about the love of the gopis. That's how Krishna is purified. And Krishna even says in the Bhagavatam that, do you know how I acquired my purifying potency? Because Krishna has a potency that he purifies everything he comes in contact with. But he said, how do I acquire my purifying potency? Actually by following the footsteps of my devotees and gathering the dust from their lotus feet. That means Krishna himself becomes purified by experiencing this ever-increasing love of the Raja Gopis. And that's another reason for him to become completely lost. And they feel the same thing for him. What love will do in such a world? I mean, Cupid in Goloka, even Transcendental Cupid or Prema, he must be very confused. how to manage all this situation, you know? So does anybody control, or is just a pure mess of love, ever-increasing love? It doesn't look like a mess, you know, when you look it, it's so beautiful. At the same time, there are some aspects also like a mess, because the feeling of meeting and separation, they combine together. This is very messy. When you feel meeting and separation at the same time in your heart, they meet Krishna, but the love they experience is so beautiful that they don't know really if they're meeting Krishna or not. They adopt this love. Because as we say in French, we say it's too beautiful to be true. So they also think like that. It's too beautiful to be true. Am I dreaming? Or is this is really happening? And they can't say if they're dreaming or not. There is nothing to tell them if they're dreaming or not. And then at the same, so the idea that they might be dreaming is the idea of separation that creates apprehension, that actually maybe this is all false. So this is the same feeling of vipralamba, separation. But at the same time they are there and they see it. And they experience Krishna. And they see Krishna's love. And they are very much amazed. So they don't know. Nobody is there to tell them because they are all in the same situation. Krishna even cannot tell them because he is also thinking, is it true that such young girl exists that can have such a love? That's why Krishna said, na parayiham niravadya samjutam vibhuda yosapiva. Only your love can repay you. I'm not able to repay you. Na parayiham niravadya samjutam sadukritam vibhuda yosapiva yoma bhajam. Dojara Griha Shinkala. So Krishna, then I lost what I was saying. Krishna is himself not understanding if this is real or not, because he can't believe that love that he sees in the heart of these young girls. They're surprising Krishna at every moment. That's why they are who they are, Asta Sakis. Not only Asta Sakis, because there, on that night there were many, but Krishna was more fascinated by this particular love. And also the maidservant of Radha, they are there also, even though they may not be mentioned in the Bhagavatam, they are there. The Acharya explained to us, they are there to assist, to play the music during the rasa dance, to be there to fan, to dress before, after, everything, they're there. So Krishna is fascinated, how is it possible? And they're thinking, is it true or is it a dream? So they don't know if they feel meeting or separation. This is the beautiful mess of prema. And prema doesn't know what to do, because he's experiencing the pure love of meeting them, but at the same time he doesn't know if it's true. They are the same. What am I to do with all that? How love deals with such a situation? Everything becomes so much intertwined and confused. That's Krishna's Rasa Lila. Prabhupada says, yep, this computer is always jumping. Prabhupada says this beautiful sentence, and I will end with this, that a person who actually understands what the Rasa Lila is will certainly hate to indulge in mundane sex life. Because why trying to get few dollars when you can get gold bars falling from the sun? You know? If we could get wealth so easily, then we would not trying to get it from somewhere else. If we understand there is such a greater wealth somewhere, then naturally we would go there. So we have to understand what is the wealth of love that is in these pastimes of Rasa Lila. Rasa Lila is, so to say, the most well-known, but it's like an entrance gate of Vraja Madhurya Lila, because that's what Shukadeva Goswami spoke about in Bhagavatam. He didn't speak about the other aspects. That's the Goswami came and revealed to us what is Krishna's dressing, what is Krishna's meeting Radha in the Radha Kund, what is all their other pastime, you know, this Parakiya Madhurya Lila pastimes. So he just brushed, you know, slightly the beauty of Rasa Lila, and then he felt not too much, because Shukadeva Goswami is Radha and his parrot. So if he would also become lost. He would lose himself in the ecstasy, which happened in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Gopkumar received initiation from Jayanta, his guru, and then his guru went into ecstasy. And then he could never explain to Gopkumar what was the meaning of the mantra, how to sing it, what he was supposed to aim for. So that's what happened when a great soul absorbs himself too much. So Shukadev didn't want the same thing to happen to him, so he just brushed these things, said few verses. Maybe when saying these things, he was already on the trim of losing completely track in the tsunami of Radha and his prem. Or as Sanatan Goswami says, in the flames of the fire of the gopis' love. He says that the gopis' love is like fire that burns everything that comes in contact with their love. So this is how we come in contact with the love of Vraj. Krishna decided. So that's the beginning. Krishna is explaining why he is coming into this world to manifest this beauty. By manifesting this pastime by which even himself becomes amazed and loses himself. Who could imagine a more beautiful Lord? I would say Lord, but it's not Lord. Who would imagine a more beautiful reality? Because Krishna is not really Lord in Vraj. He's more than Lord. Sweeter than Lord. I say sometimes, Krishna is God. Okay, but not only that. is much more than God. God is not much. Krishna is billion times more than God. What Krishna is cannot be said by words, only by the word Krishna. It can be experienced, realized, can be heard about from the mouth of these amazing souls, like Shukadev Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Prabhupada Ji. They're telling us, trying to bring the waves of this ocean so that we can touch them and be transformed. Then if they let themselves being touched by these waves, they'll be transformed. Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
I was thinking of that verse that's quoted from Alankara Kaustubha. Rase saras chamatkaro yam vina naraso rasaha, that astonishment is the essence of rasa.
Yeah.
And without astonishment, there's no question of rasa. You were touching on that point.
Astonishment, chamatkar in Sanskrit, and Krishna is using this word here. Sei lila karibo yate mora chamatkar. So astonishment is there. Krishna wanted to manifest this chamatkar, Vraja chamatkar. This is the astonishment of experience of the love which is inside Radharani's heart and the Gopi's heart, as well as the love which is inside Krishna's heart. This is chamatkar, real meaning of chamatkar. Astonishing, amazing, inconceivable, mind-blowing. Our words, they fall short in front of what we should be using as words for describing such beauty. But this is the mercy. Their love includes an equal level of mercy. And that's why this love comes down to us, who are completely outside of all this reality, born in the darkness of ignorance. Om Agena Timirandasya. So this love is by nature most compassionate, and it grows, and by growing, it gradually engulfs everything. That's why Krishna comes to earth. It's like a small pebble, I would say. Not a small pebble. It's like a Mount Meru thrown in the water of the matter world, and it makes gigantic waves, flooding everything on there. How we can say this? Flooding everything on their way. On their way. When we open Chaitanya Charitamrita or Bhagavatam, if we don't feel like taking a tsunami in our face, that means we are not reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. We should feel like, wow, what is this? Such a beauty. Yeah, this is real reading. May all this beautiful love fully manifest in our heart by its own compassion, and makes us also like little fish swimming in its I would say, in its tidal waves. Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.